Hello and thank you for joining us on Threat X3 Productions. Today we're going to be talking about Elden Ring.
No! I knew it! Oh! Yep. I'm gonna say I can't make that.
But before we get started, I want to thank everybody who's been subscribing to us lately. We've been doing a really good job lately as far as numbers go, from a numbers perspective. And so we're going to be doing a giveaway, so wait till the end of the video to figure out more about that. But hopefully you'll enjoy yourself along the way. Now, I guess I need to sort of call this a review in progress, since I really haven't even gotten outside the main area. I've explored all the area from the first map fragment that you get, or at least I think, and I've started to the south attempting to clear all of it and work my way north. Other than that, I haven't gotten that far in what you would consider as the quote-unquote main quest. So I don't know everything about this game. Like, I don't know that one boss at that one place. This will be more about the game overall than specifics. So I couldn't necessarily call this a full-on review, although I consider it a review. Some might not. So with that bit of caveat out of the way, let's get started. Visuals. From Software has never really been the company concerned with the most up-to-date make your eyes bleed from the visuals.
Hey, let's go on PC where the graphics are too pretty and have our retinas burned out.
Instead, From Software has always been about the details of their worlds and filling it to the brim with things to see and make it feel alive and like it's actually lived in. So admittedly, I was a bit concerned that we'd lose some of that when they stretch it into an open world, like going into like MS Paint and stretching a JPEG way past its natural resolution. Sure, you can still see everything, but it's not really as good. Luckily, I was proven wrong. The amount of detail around every corner is impressive, but more impressive is around every corner is a giant field or swamp or desert, woods, and so on. It's not how big the open world is, but how they use it. Or at least that's what my wife tells me. But this couldn't genuinely be more true. Keep in mind I am on the PlayStation 5. Sure, the draw distance could get better, of course. Could there be not as much pop-in from time to time? Also, yes. But whether you're looking over a large landscape or in a deep, dark cave with weird troll things mining precious ores, everything has an amazing amount of polish and, like I said before, detail. And the best part is, after the initial load up on booting, the game has no loading screens. Sure, any open world with any merit has very few loading screens, but then again, not many open worlds build such a diverse landscape. And also in most open worlds, you'll have something where when you start a mission, there's definitely a loading screen there because they'll have an overly long cutscene that you can't skip. It's obviously loading in the background. And in Elden Ring, they don't even really do that one thing with video games where it kind of forces you to squeeze through certain things and there's clearly loading some assets in the background. I'm sure there are always assets being loaded in the background, but there are no cheap parlor tricks to shield you from the loading. Or at least from what I can personally gather. Sound. I feel like I've said this the last few reviews that I've done, or at least to some extent, but this game does a great job of audio cues, directional 3D audio. I can know where an enemy is and I can know what it is or what it might be with my eyes closed. And that's how you can tell that it is good sound design. and more so impressive because of the scale of the world and the amount of sounds that you would naturally have to populate it with. Here is a good example. Here I am in a cave, and listen. You can clearly hear enemies digging and mining in the background. Getting a little bit closer, now I hear they're hacking at something. It sounds meaty. After killing several of the mining enemies, you can now clearly hear fewer pickaxes than before. You see, this isn't just some random ambiance. This is actual sound design coming from actual beings in the world. This is good for the open world too. Here you can clearly hear the zombies on my left and the rolling sheep on my right. All this, coupled with the sound of a sword hitting a foe, can be so satisfying. I feel the weight of the swing, not just because I can physically see the character straining his muscles from the swing of the sword, but by the sound of the impact when it makes contact with my foe, and the special sort of gong that happens when you break a character's poise. Letting you know that you can go in for the kill. Or on larger enemies,
attack its weak point for massive damage.
Now, normally I would move on to gameplay, but I'd like to talk about the open world structure. I thought about bringing this up during the visuals or even during gameplay, but it is such an integral part of what makes this game so great. I really feel it deserves its own section. The best part of the open world is just how much they utilize space. As massive as this world can feel, what makes it way better is just how dense it feels. You rarely have to go long without something catching your attention. And while this way will lead you to what looks like a dead end from afar, turns out there's a dungeon there. And heading down this beach is a great variety of enemies. But oh look, a vendor. And what the hell are these lights showing up on the ground for? And the game does a great job of peppering in plenty of incentives to reward you for exploring, like going into the countless dungeons. There is the thrill of making it through and taking out everything in sight, but at the end, there are these bosses, and they will always drop something interesting. Maybe a weapon or spirits to summon. Then there are some ruins, which always house a number of enemies, but also a set of stairs into an underground basement with an item. Now, you can definitely farm the enemies for their ruins, or you can just take them out quietly, sneak into the basement, take the item, and leave with no one being the wiser. Point is, you don't know what it will be or even if it'll be useful, but you can get addicted to just finding out. But what gives this open world its special sauce isn't how big it is or even just how dense it is and how fully populated it feels. Actually, the secret sauce is mystery. I don't explore every nook and cranny because I want to check off some arbitrary checklist, but because I genuinely want to know what they have hiding around every corner. If I had a nickel for every time I said something along the lines of, "What the hell is that?" I would have long paid off this game. And keep in mind, I haven't even left the starting area. So chances are I'm going to have a lot to take to the bank once I explore the rest of the game. The mystery and the wonder is palpable. Here's a moment from the last time I streamed the game.
But yeah, trying to figure out where the heck is the third turtle. Like, there's writing over here, and I think if I go to this motherfucker, it's like weak foe ahead. What the? Was that the horse? Why did the water ripple? Is he invisible? Son of a bitch. He was fucking invisible.
That moment and so many just like it are so genuinely satisfying and overall gratifying, which are kind of two of the same thing. Not the point. It's knowing and trusting the developers to have something always up their sleeve and how well they use every inch that makes this not just open world Dark Souls, but this truly feels like its very own game. Okay, now to the gameplay. If you've played a Soul or a Born or a Sacrifice or even a Surge type of game, you know that they are known for their difficulty. And while I'm sure Soul purists will have plenty to say about this game, I think it is genuinely the most accessible form of the game. For example, I played Bloodborne back when it originally came out. I progressed through the first area, going through every nook and cranny, and then boom, a wall. The first boss absolutely whooped my ass. Now, I knew this was typical, so I did what I normally do in Souls games. I went and I farmed enemies, rested at the lantern so that they would respawn, and then I farmed some more and rinse and repeat. Eventually, I got to what I thought was an acceptable level and endurance and so on, and I went back and died. No. Okay, I got this. And dead. Okay. I'm getting the hang of this. Let's just use the terrain and dead again. Okay, we're doing it again. And he transforms and kills me. Okay, uninstall the game in frustration. Eventually, years later, I did download the game again because I was in a gaming lull, and I eventually beat him. But the entire experience sort of ruined it for me. I thought if this is the first boss, I kind of don't have the desire to see how effed up it gets later. And admittedly, I really haven't gotten that much further in the game. Elden Ring is different. It will still kick your ass in more ways than one, like, this. But the best part about Elden Ring is choice. If a boss is absolutely whipping my ass, I have an entire world of other things to do. Sure, to progress the quote-unquote main quest, I need to defeat certain enemies and they will certainly be a burden. But at any point, I have the option to go and explore the world and come back when I feel more up to the task. And this is extremely liberating. Now, I defeat a boss not out of necessity, but rather because I want to do it. Not because if I don't, I physically can't do anything else, but because I have the freedom to. If I didn't beat that boss in Bloodborne, then that game would be a very small and short experience. Sure, I could just keep grinding and on, but if I couldn't beat him, there was a very shallow experience. If I don't defeat Margit, I think his name is, the first quote-unquote boss, I have so much other things that I can do. I've been playing this game now for a total of 20 plus hours, and I have not been running out of things to do. Sure, some of it's repeating myself because I'm grinding up my levels, but that's still, let's say, 10 hours of stuff I'm doing and haven't even beaten the, once again, quote, first boss. But what I have defeated is giant crabs, giant land octopuses, giant poisonous flowers, 2 giant trolls pulling a cart, a giant troll minding his own damn business, a giant knight wielding a flail with 3 massive spiky balls, the beast of Forum Azula, Bloodhound Knight Darwil, Cemetery Shade, Erd Tree Avatar, a goddamn dragon, and the Grave Warden Duelist. Some of those are just big enemies, but some of them were bosses. They show up differently because there's a life bar that shows up at the bottom of your screen rather than just above their character. So it was a long point, but point being that before I have even killed what is to be considered the first story boss, I have still done so much. Versus any other game like this, in order for me to progress anywhere, I need to fight what is actually a story boss. So that is my extremely long-winded way of presenting just how much there is to do other than getting your ass handed by the same boss over and over and over and over and over and over again. Now, that's not to say that normal enemies aren't hard, but rather that you move about the world at your own pace. You choose your adventure. Most Soul games definitely feel like, here is your path. Go along that path. If that path is too hard, you pick the wrong game. The freedom of choice extends to the playstyle. I'm a rogue who peppers enemies with arrows. I'm a warrior who swings a large hammer. I'm a sorcerer who casts over-the-top spells. And if you start off with a samurai, this doesn't mean that you can't cast a spell, or vice versa. This is another thing that some might try to write off as making the game easier. But imagine having an open world like GTA and only being able to use your pistol. The choice in pulling out an RPG is technically easier, but the overall game isn't changed by just having a wide range of how you want to play the game. If you want to play the game as warrior only class, go for it. I don't see how someone using the quote-unquote easy spells to defeat a boss should somehow negate the fact that they beat it just because you happen to beat it with just a dagger. So let's touch on combat a little bit. Very rarely do I feel out of control. Very rarely does a death feel cheap. I like that if you're too cocky, the game can certainly let you know. It's all about learning your opponent. And this game, like most FromSoft games, does a great job of telegraphing some moves while always keeping you guessing with surprise attacks that are rarely used. So much rarely used that I totally forgot that this jackass uses fire, and I paid the price for not paying attention. Yes, FromSoft games are hard, and some people just hear how punishing they are, and they kind of just refuse to even try them. And while I could definitely understand where you're coming from on previous games, I do feel that Elden Ring is the exception to the rule. So, conclusion. So this game has good but not great graphics. Sound design is awesome. The open world is full of mystery and uses its space to its full potential. And the gameplay is as good as any of the games that came before it, maybe even arguably better. So, do I even really need to rank this? I feel like at this point, you all know that I fucking love this. You all know that this, oh my god, this is a masterpiece. This very well could be the game of the year for me personally, and it's only February. That's saying a lot, but also I could be wrong. But also, this is just such a well-made game. Oh my god. So my ranking is normally this. Yeah, it's a day one purchase. And you know what? I'm even going to give it a stamp of approval. This could even be worth a collector's edition price. I always try to think of a review as my recommendation. How much money should you be willing to put towards this game? How much money is this worth actually paying for? Because as a reviewer, I still pay for my reviews, so I need to think of other people in different situations. Are they even willing to pay the amount of money that it's asking for? I personally believe if you're a Dark Souls fan, there is absolutely positively no reason you wouldn't like this. On the other hand, if you've never played a Dark Souls, or you have played a Dark Souls, but it was just too damn hard for you, I still think that this is a good purchase because, once again, choice. That choice to go over here instead of over there, to use an axe rather than, spells, or vice versa. The amount of choice and the amount of stuff that it gives you to do is just mind-boggling, and you can still find plenty to do with just roaming. Basically, it's a great open world game. So that's my recommendation. I think it is a day one purchase. I love this game. I've fallen in love with it. So have you played it? What do you think about it? What's your very favorite thing about the game? What is your least favorite thing about the game? I'm going to make another video, top 10 things and top 10 worst things about the game. So look out for that. Once again, thank you so much for subscribing. A lot of you have been subscribing lately, and it's great. Like I said before, we're going to do a giveaway. Hey, you know what you got to do? Come on. You guys know. You got to like. You got to subscribe. A share would be awesome. Honestly, I really want to get to 1,000. We're getting close to even just 600. So I'm like, you know what? Let's double it. Let's go all the way up to 1,000. If we get to 1,000, we're going to do a $100 giveaway. I'm so excited with the momentum we have. I really want to give back to you guys in one way or another. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers and we get $100 out to a random person who likes, subscribes, and shares this video and any of our future videos in March. So thank you guys so much for joining us today on Threat X3 Productions, and you have a good day.